sharing a little bit of your day with us. We tried to put this right at the noon hour for those that are in Central, or 1 o'clock on the East, so you could grab a sandwich and a soda and make this a lunch and learn session. We do appreciate you sharing your time with us today. This is the 5th in a series that we call What to Expect After COVID-19, where we have looked at what we believe is the next normal. And today we're going to talk about channel incentives. And I am very honored to have an esteemed panel with us today. So I'm Mike May. I'm president of Brightspot, also the past chairman of the Incentive Research Foundation, which if you don't follow the IRF, I would recommend you subscribe, which is free at theirf.org, and you'll get a monthly research paper that IRF puts out. I also have on the call today Rudy Garza, who is our vice president at Brightspot. But Rudy and I are just the warm-up acts for the real star. That is Kelly Coons, who is our director of incentives. So Kelly, we're gonna try to tee you up and set you up for success today. Let's see, here is what I mentioned, our What to Expect series. This is our 5th. You see the prior ones we've covered in the way of incentive travel, meetings and events, road shows. You can find those if you go to our website and go to our blog. You could get a transcript of each of those past ones, or if you go to our YouTube channel, you can access the recording. It looks like we have had a few registrants that looked like they were travel partners or friends in the meetings and incentive travel space. So those topics might be particularly of interest to you. Throughout the day, we will take chat questions. Our goal is to get done in 30 minutes, and we will answer the questions at the end. So to start off, I want to just set the stage of what we call the goal. This was our header graphic that we used today, and what this represents is the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter of this year. So the reddish, or what we call bright spot coral, is when coronavirus hit, and as we are living and breathing, we know that whacked many businesses pretty good. Even if our revenue wasn't affected, it probably created distraction for our employees. So what we're going to talk about today is what we believe will emerge in the 3rd and 4th quarter of this year, whereby channels will be launching new incentives and trying to motivate and refocus their channel reps. Let's see, we think the second half of the year goal is going to be what we call PG. Kelly, what's PG?
Mike, that would be pipeline generation.
Pipeline generation. So we think PG is going to, PG is always a focus, but what we're starting to see is it's going to be an even greater focus in Q3, Q4. Our phone is starting to ring with people asking about incentives that they want to launch and how we can help at Brightspot. So we're going to have 10 tips or 10 topics we're going to cover today, covering all these different phrases like simple and speedy, all the way over to the power of choice and something unique that we call reach. So with that, let's jump into the meat of the presentation, and we are going to start today with simple. Rudy, I think this is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Great to be with everybody today. I often say I'm a simple person, so it's appropriate that I get this one. The first step in planning any channel incentive program is to define and or establish one's goals for the program. And inevitably, when we work with clients, they have a long list of goals that they want to accomplish with their incentive program. And as such, it leads to a long list of goals, leads to a complex set of rules. And so they want to include limits on, what can be claimed and or what can be earned. They want to offer splits so that multiple people can be incentivized with a certain transaction, or they offer multipliers so that if you reach a certain level, you get this, and you reach the next level and you get that. Or sometimes what we'll see is a client is running multiple spiffs at the same time. And all of this complexity leads channel reps feeling dazed and confused. And so that leaves them with just too much to understand. And so they start to check out. And so the tip here is to resist the temptation to make your channel incentive program too complex. And so, based on that, there was an IRF study that was released earlier this spring. I think it was in March of this year. And they did a study of the top 400 top performing companies within their industries. And the industries were in the technology sector, the financial sector, and the manufacturing sector. And overwhelmingly, their study showed that these top performing companies had a strong or had huge value that they placed on running incentive programs, 81% to be exact. So call it 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5, just like that old commercial used to tell us about dentists. So 4 out of 5 top performing companies strongly believe in incentive programs. And what do they do differently? They establish simple metrics for their program, and they use simple qualification criteria. And so, our goals, whenever you're setting, goals for anything, they should always be SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. But I would also add that last S, which is simple or simplicity. And so just leaning on that old acronym KISS, I like to say, keep it super simple.
Good. Yeah, Rudy, I mentioned that I've been a trustee of IRF for the last 5+ years. This top performing company study would be one of my 3 all-time favorites. So I would highly recommend it to people to take a look. You can access it for free. And that's why we started with it right out of the top. And Rudy, I know as you and I have met with clients, when we say simple, this is one that the minute we say it, everybody's head nods in the room. So
yeah, absolutely.
Powerful concept. Let's see here. So the next one is speedy. So Kelly, what would you say about speedy?
Let's see. Well, first of all, what we typically see is that a lot of our clients like to spend quite a bit of time in the discovery and planning phase, which Brightspot would typically recommend and think is a great thing. However, in the new post-COVID world that we're living in, we are recommending speed, meaning coming up with programs and channel incentives that are quick to execute, easy to communicate, and easy to engage your audience with. Let's see, if we go ahead just a slide or two, you'll see that we've come up with these promotions called plug and play. So there's a little bit of something for everyone. And what we found is that there's a need for, whether there's an existing channel program and we need a way to freshen it up, or just really easy to utilize awards, when it comes to maybe the channel program has changed and those awards aren't what they used to be. These are great options to be able to literally plug and play. So there you saw Pamper Yourself, the Grill Master, since we know we're shifting to a more outdoor focus, the Cool Parent, since it's all about parenting and working from home these days. But what's really great about any promotion that you can make simple to execute, easy to plug in, is that there's something for everyone, something for every budget, but most importantly, something to promote to help keep your channel objectives fresh and to keep your program top of mind.
Yeah, that's great. To kind of connect the dots between what you said and what Rudy just said, I think these awards are very visual. It draws people in, but then it also pulls them from visualizing the awards to visualizing the simple rules that Rudy outlined as to what is necessary to succeed. Our third tip is something I'm passionate about, which is protecting run rate, or particularly avoiding the run rate risk. I feel like when we work with channel partner organizations, sometimes they can be guilty of presuming that run rate will always continue, but there is a risk. If we don't nurture that run rate and work with those channel partners that are driving today's business, there is a risk that they go elsewhere. And I have a graphic coming up that KK, a minute ago, if we said PG, this one's a little bit PG-13. So turn down your sensitivity meter, but it makes a powerful statement. Jeffrey Gittimer is a sales writer and speaker, and he asked this rhetorical question about, do you want your spouse satisfied or loyal? Again, a little bit maybe off color, but it makes a point for loyalty. So here we would tweak it and say, do you want your channel partner to be satisfied or loyal? And of course, you want them to be loyal and continue to drive that run rate business. So we sometimes think about, is the channel program a loyalty program or an incentive program? And when we say loyalty, that means it keeps the partner selling. Channel loyalty programs are usually characterized by having many transactions, but at lower price points. And you see a list of industries where that might apply. Alternatively, channel incentives motivate new sales or new selling behaviors. And generally, a channel incentive will have fewer transactions, but higher price points. And this is probably a place that Brightspot plays a great deal with a lot of technology and software, telecom companies, and other types of high value sellers. And we use the simple phrase, loyalty maintains and incentive motivates. But in a time like this, you know, in the economy we're in today, a lot of business writers will say, whatever you do, make sure you take care of your existing customers. So, you know, here, I know we have, you know, we have one client that their business is so good right now that they said, we don't feel like we need to run incentives because our business is so good right now. And I feel like that creates a risk in the channel of alienating those channel partners if they perceive, hey, you only come to me when times are bad and ask me to sell, but when times are good, you cut off the channel reward program. And I visualize, you know, if over the last 2 or 3 years when the economy was great, if I went to our sales team and said, hey, you know, economy's great, we don't need you as much, we're going to cut commissions, you know, they might not stick. And now, you know, when times are tough, you know, we can't just necessarily turn the spigot on every time times get rough. So probably belabored that, but watch and make sure you're preserving your run rate. So Rudy, show the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. So this one specifically references, you know, the channel reps as they are today. You know, the life of a sales rep has always been hectic. Prospecting includes, you know, emails and calls and presentations and meetings and traveling. So their life is always hectic. And COVID-19, when that hit almost exactly 3 months ago, it added all kinds of new challenges and distractions. And so when it comes to your channel sales reps, we would strongly recommend that you show them the way or you help them be successful. And so what does that mean? That means helping your channel reps refocus on whatever it is your next normal is for your business. It means to not be afraid to pivot from whatever your original 2020 goals and priorities were. In fact, you might need to pivot from those original ones. And then also to help them know what products to target. Should they be focused on your higher margin products or your easier to sell products that could get you a foot in the door and or a beachhead, and or should they be focusing on products that have a shorter sales cycle? So no matter what it is, the bottom line is to show the way for the reps and or just help make them successful.
Yeah, great. I love that. I know, Rudy, in a past webinar, you talked about the importance of symbolic incentives right now to just show some love to the sales reps. I think that same concept applies here, just to show them some love and give them a little bit of direction.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of that example that you mentioned with that client that's choosing not to do anything this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Not survive, but thrive.
Yeah, so those are nice segues to this next concept. You know, one of my favorite things about working at Brightspot is that we have such a unique seat in this industry, as we get to serve clients in the food service space, the financial space, technology, security. We kind of run the gamut. And it's interesting because we're seeing some clients really pull back on their channel activity and basically just hunker down during this, unknown time. On the flip side, a lot of our clients are really getting ahead of the curve and, like Rudy talked about, pivoting their channel plans. So it's just interesting to see, it's not going to be about the company that decided to just survive. It's going to be about the channel that really not capitalized, but planned ahead, and it will become about survival of the fittest. So what does that mean? Consider your competition. If you aren't doing something, they are, especially as that curve starts to lift, as Mike and Rudy show. This is the time to plan and get ahead and really thrive. Consider the competition and don't play nice. And then last but not least, grab market share while you can, because in 2 quarters, it's going to be even harder to grab market share, whereas right now it might be just a little bit easier.
Yeah, great point. I think many companies the tendency is to pull back on marketing in a time like this, but this can be a good time to tap the accelerator and grab share. So let's see, number 6, this one to me is really powerful, the concept of reach. What is reach?
Well, let's see, Mike. I think we've seen a shift in reach versus exclusivity. I think back to, my meager 10 years in this industry compared to 2 industry greats like yourselves. But back in the day, it used to be about these quota clubs and kind of a good old boys mentality where it was about exclusivity and non-inclusiveness. But in a great study done by the Incentive Research Foundation of, hundreds of different companies, they found that the top performing companies put a massive emphasis on reach, which means touching more people, including more people, letting them feel as though they are part of a program, part of something greater, and building the channel that way. So reach is including more people, Mike. And what we're seeing and what we found, in these post-COVID times is that a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, and we, a lot of the channel programs we do will have a mix of reach where everybody has a chance to win, as well as what we call some overlay prizes that could go to top achievers or maybe even an incentive trip. Okay, power of choice.
Yes, my favorite, the POC. Whenever a client might ask us, well, what's the best reward that we should be offering for their incentive program? And we always like to answer that question with a question, and that is, what would be most motivational for your target audience? And so obviously there's different options that can be offered. You can offer merchandise, a variety of merchandise. You can offer gift cards, be it open loop or closed loop, or you can offer a variety of experiences, and again, be it travel and or non-travel. And at Brightspot, we like to say that we are reward neutral, meaning we don't push one reward type over another, but rather we would rather implement the reward that would be most motivational for your target audience. And so with any of these, you can offer variety, be it, if you only offered merchandise, you can still offer a variety of merchandise, a variety of cards, a variety of travel experiences. And so that's the whole point here, is to offer a variety and let your winners choose, or give them the power of choice.
And Rudy, while we're here, I feel like a question we often get in this area is, what's the right amount of choice? Is, sometimes, what's the right, limited or unlimited?
Yeah, that's a great question that we do often get. And I would say that while choice is good, too much choice is not so good. And so you definitely want to offer a variety, but too much choice leaves the participant and or those that are in your incentive program feeling overwhelmed. If there's just way too much choice, then there's a feeling of being overwhelmed. In my prior life, I used to work for a CPG company that owned the segment that they operated in. And
you got to say what it is. You don't need to be bashful.
Well, I worked at Frito-Lay, and so they owned about 80% market share in the salty snack sector. And if you walk down that aisle, I mean, there's literally hundreds of options to choose from. and it leaves a lot of people feeling overwhelmed. And so again, while choice is good, too much choice is not so good.
Yeah, good. You know, I think again of the word visualization, that, you know, the awards cause people to visualize what they want, and then that starts the motivational juices flowing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we like to say that the backbone of any successful channel incentive program is a robust incentive platform. And so this is where I shamelessly plug our award-winning Ignite incentive platform. And by incorporating an incentive platform, or a good one, offers you flexibility of branding, and so it could tie into your company's branding and your style guide. It could offer customization when it comes to offers. Now that is almost the opposite of where we started with simplicity, but yet if your incentive program requires that, then we could pretty much build any custom offers that are required. A robust incentive program also offers data integration and the automation of performance and points. And then when it comes specifically to rewards, it offers an online catalog with easy redemption and with shopping cart functionality. And so we always say that an incentive platform can often give you a competitive advantage over over others within your industry.
Yeah. You know, this is also a good place that I think of the term buy, don't build. You know, we've invested a lot into this platform, a lot of developer hours, a lot of hard dollars. And, you know, to be able to license this very inexpensively versus trying to build it yourself internally with spreadsheets, emails, Google Docs, Google Forms, really makes tremendous sense. KK, one question we get here is how long does it take to launch an Ignite system?
You know, if we keep the offers fairly simple, we can have the platform up and running in 2 weeks. Maybe it's just because I spoke about speed, but, you know, we actually have a promotion that we work on called Just Add Sales. And in a matter of 4 to 5 questions, we can turn a spiff on for you.
Yeah, good. And I'd say even that 2 weeks assumes a lot of back and forth with the client on offers and art and things like that. You know, if we had all of those questions and all of the data lined up, well, it might even be down to a matter of a couple of days, a few days, which makes our director of IT cringe when I say that. But
and your VP as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, get creative.
Yes. So one thing that Brightspot considers to be a key differentiator is our emphasis on creativity. And it truly is something that we're really passionate about. While the slide says creative collateral, we are creative when it comes to incentive design, promotion design, rising above the noise in the channel. But especially in these post-COVID times, you know, Mike mentioned PG and pipeline generation. You simply can't have pipeline generation without effective communications. So our advice here is to get creative. I know Mike and Rudy would agree, but I can't tell you how often one of our clients says, oh, I'll just send an email, which is great, but that email is only important to the sender. So we always recommend investing just a couple hours in creative to get not only mind share, but eye share.
Yeah, I would say underfunded communications is the #1 reason that incentive programs fail. So very powerful concept, even though it's towards the end of our list. Number 9 is focus behavior. So this is something we've been working with a lot of channel organizations about, which is behavioral incentives, or sometimes we'll call it enablement incentives. So the gray loop at the bottom would be your traditional spiff that it tells the rep if they can get from the starting point to the sale, they earn a spiff. But the pink circle says that reps struggle with mapping the success steps on a complex sale. So what we've done is created miniature incentives such as certification or demo, which would be another type of POC, proof of concept. And you're rewarding on those baby steps that then pull somebody all the way over to a sale. And here are just some of the examples that we've worked on that I would say certifications has been really popular. Deal registration, deal registration works really well when you have a complex product. And if the deal gets registered, if you as a sponsoring company can then come in shoulder to shoulder with the channel rep and help them make the sale. And to close out, the virtual trends.
Thanks, Mike. So when it comes to the fulfillment of awards, one of the most important words is the word immediacy, which refers to delivering awards in a timely manner, especially when the incentive behavior is still fresh in the minds of those who you're incentivizing. The opposite of that is delaying the fulfillment of awards. Sometimes we have programs, unfortunately, that don't fulfill awards until 3, maybe even more months later. And whenever that happens, that could lead to dissatisfaction in the part of the channel sales rep, and which ultimately leads or can lead to disengagement, which is where you never want to be. And when COVID-19 hit, almost everything went virtual. We were meeting virtually, we were working virtually. It's too bad we weren't eating virtually, because I'd be a few pounds lighter right now. But everything was up, everything virtual was up. And so we've seen the same thing when it comes to virtual cards and e-gift cards. That's just a very almost instantaneous way to be able to incentivize your people. And so if you, especially if you have a global rewards program, it takes time to produce cards. It takes time to ship cards, especially globally. And so we definitely have seen clients want to use virtual and e-gift cards in order to get those rewards in the hands of their participants in a faster manner.
Excellent, excellent. So Kelly, tips and takeaways.
Tips and takeaways in the next 30 seconds. See, if there's anything that we do want you to hear, it's, be ready, be nimble. I know Mike alluded to at the beginning of this, the economy coming back, that ticket's on the upswing. So this is the time to plan and prepare so that you are ready when Q4 and Q1 come out swinging. Add focus with the spiff. I would say don't forget about our old friend, the short-term sales contest. It's an easy way to get reps' attention, but it just adds a little bit more focus in your channel. Always good advice to keep it simple, easy to understand, easy to chew. The fourth, this might be my favorite one, only because we have so many clients that come to us for ideas, and we provide a lot of counsel, which is a lot of fun for us, but it's very often, or too often, that we send ideas that don't execute. So we just find ourselves begging, let us help. Just please do something, because we want to help the channel grow. And then, last but not least, our shameless plug to hire Brightspot, because not only are we ready and we're nimble, we're ready to execute your program.
We will make it easy. So we're now going to enter the Q&A phase. I want to remind you, just tap that little cartoon circle to chat in your questions. Also, as a reminder, you can get any of our What to Expect series on our blog or our YouTube channel. You see that we've touched everything from incentive travel to meetings, road shows, which, by the way, road shows tie nicely with channel sales incentives to get that PG into your funnel. So now let's go to Q&A. Michael, our marketing manager, do we have any questions coming in?
Yes, one question here. Do you use Zoom or any other web call service to reach channel partners for behavioral incentives such as training or other?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Oftentimes we're one step removed from that, and it may be the channel marketing manager at our client who is doing that. We do think that's a fantastic idea. What we often say when in the area of communications is make sure you're promoting across multiple mediums. So email, open mic calls like this, print, And then also, using different types of media. So, just changing it up. But we definitely recommend hitting parallel channels. So if you do have an open mic call or video call with channel partners, it's a great place to do a few slides to promote the channel incentive.
Yeah, and Mike, I'd add on there, what we've seen with our roadshow segment is because these people can't be meeting in person and going out to restaurants and so forth, they're meeting via Zoom and virtually. And instead of, feeding them at a restaurant, they're sending them gift cards and or certificates in order to redeem meals and so forth and other promotional items. And so that's definitely an uptick that we've seen in that segment of our business.
Excellent.
We got another here. With virtual prepaid on the rise, is there a downside to making those prepaid cards reloadable?
Ooh.
Reloadable is one of the, it's one of the paradoxes in this industry, because generally we all think that a reloadable card would be less expensive because you're not having to send it out again virtually, so you avoid that transaction, or even in the physical space, you avoid remailing plastic. But the irony of a reloadable is that it has a 24-month life, which then means the card issuer has to pay a small amount to Visa or MasterCard every month to keep the card alive. And it also increases the support costs. There's just more phone calls, there's more lost cards, lost numbers. So usually we only see reloadable in the space of something like a call center or a place where there are frequent loads but small dollar amounts. Otherwise, it's probably easier just to issue a new plastic card or resend another virtual award.
Let's see, maybe one more here. From start to finish, how long would you say the plug and play promotions last, and how quickly can they be implemented?
Okay.
I can take that one, Mike. Yeah. From start to finish, I mean, they get out the door pretty quickly because they're pre-made packages, kind of off the shelf, for lack of a better term. They last as long as you want them to. If you want to make it a multi-quarter contest, you could add life that way. But they're kind of meant to be an instant award to take the space of a long-term program in these kind of new times.
Yeah, the best thing I like about them is they're curated packages basically for any demographic, right? I know I want to sign up for that Grill Master plug and play. So tell me where I can sign up for that one.
Yeah, that's an area we've done some reimagining, and we've made an investment internally in creating those packages, so it's very easy for clients and prospects to leverage them. And well, Michael, unless you interrupt me, I'll wind down the webinar here. You see Rudy and Kelly and my email address there. Our protocol is very simple: first name dot last name at brightspot.email. If you want to send over any questions, even if you're not a client, we're always happy to add value and just generally believe in helping people. We appreciate you sharing 30 minutes of your day around the lunch hour or whatever time zone you're in. I hope you found this helpful. We will be following up after the email, probably tomorrow, with slides. Everybody always asks about slides, so we will send the slides if you want to use those. And please feel free. Thank you again for joining us, and hope you have a very, very good summer and stay safe. Thank you.